is the 7th round of the season. My 2026 championship is continuing here in Assen again. The weekend started out a little differently. So normally we begin on Friday and now we began on Thursday. First day was filled with 5 free practices. I wanted to do things differently this weekend. Long story short, all of my changes to the setup this season have always turned out to be good for me. That's a good thing, but I wanted to test more limits. It seemed like we always made too little steps. So I talked to my head engineer and we came up with a plan this Monday to try out at least 3 completely different setups, and we began testing that immediately on Thursday morning. A lot of the changes turned out to be good, but a lot of them also turned out to be worse for me. So that is why we try to get our head around at the middle of the day to see which aspects of every setup we could take onto the next one, onto a new version, and to try that in the last 2 sessions. Unfortunately, the second to last session was cancelled for us because of an incident here at the track. And that left us with only 1 session to try out the new setup. And I went out with used but still fresh tires, and I was able to go around for some laps and push into the sectors. I wasn't able to tie a full lap together, but I was able to find a good feeling on the bike within those sectors in different laps. So at the end of the day, I felt like I made a good step as to trying some different things in setups, and I was ready to go into the Friday morning session with a better feeling than before. After a good night's sleep, I was ready to kick it again on Friday morning. It started out with a free practice session at 10 o'clock. I went out as soon as I could, as soon as the lights went green. And I went out with, again, an old set of tires, or an older set of tires, but still fresh. It still felt good. The session still felt good, and I was able to pick up on other people's pace on the track. This weekend we have a lot of guest riders starting in our championship, just doing this round only because it's just before their own round, which also will take place here at Assen. But I can use some of the riders to try and find a toe and hopefully improve that way. I know where my limits are, but every time someone's in front of you can always stretch up your limits just a little more. So with all tires I was still able to find a decent pace until unfortunately I made a stupid mistake and I crashed. I didn't crash hard. I came away with minor injuries just on my fingers. Just a few scratches and will be a little stiff tomorrow, but unfortunately my session was over after that. There were some minor fixes that had to be done to the bike, but at least I could start again in the first qualifying. Then with a few hours of waiting, it was time for qualifying 1. We were able to go out, but unfortunately 1 hour before the qualifying it started raining really lightly. The track wasn't getting that much weather, but it wasn't comfortable weather to ride in. So you could use slicks, but you weren't going to improve. At least for me, I wasn't going to be able to improve on my time that I set in the free practice, which I did with all tires. So I just made the choice to go out once and immediately come back in to just check whether there was any damages to the bike during the crash that were overseen by my crew. During the one lap that I did, I found nothing, and everything was completely back to normal again. No further damages, so I went into the pit lane again, and I parked the bike for the rest of the session. My second try to set a lap time came around in qualifying too. Just later in the afternoon, we were able to go out again. It was a session of 30 minutes, and also looking at the fact that I only rode one lap in the first qualifying, I chose to go out with my old tires that I used in the first qualifying, so they were only one lap old. They were basically new, and I had to find a pace with that tire, even though it wasn't the optimal tire to use for those conditions. It was a little warmer, so I tried to find my pace and then come into the pit lane and put in a new rear tire, different compound, and go out again, try and find a toe, and otherwise just keep full pushing until I got a good lap time. Unfortunately for me, it didn't work out the way I wanted. It was quite windy on the bike. It's sunny now, but it was cloudy during my session, and every corner I struggled to maintain the bike in a position where I wanted it to be. Completely different to the feeling I had in the free practice, and it had nothing to do with the crash, I think. But for some reason, it just didn't click for me in that session, and that really frustrated me at first. And now all I can do is try and find my mistakes that I made today, or find some points that I can still work on over the night, and then just do better in the warm-up and the races tomorrow. In the warm-up, I was able to replicate the feeling from yesterday, but I was still, even though we made changes to the setup, still running into the same problems more or less. So that was a little frustrating. Eventually, we did choose to make another change to the setup leading up to the first race. In the beginning of the afternoon, the first race rolled around, and making my way to the starting grid, I was starting from a ninth place. Ninth place because a lot of the riders in front of me were not participating in our championship. They were guest riders, and therefore I was a little more behind than usual. Naturally, I wanted to get a really good start, maybe overtake some riders, and there were a few guest riders in between me and my opponent in the championship. So all I had to do during the first few laps is make my way over to my opponent and try and squeeze myself into a battle with him. Try to overtake his position and make it more difficult for him to stay in front of me. I did not get away from the line as fast as I normally did. The last few races has been more difficult for me on the starting grid. There's something that I'm doing wrong, and I can't seem to figure out still why it's happening. So I lost already 2 places leading up to the first corner, and for the first few laps I was kind of stuck behind them. The riders behind me were really close to me. I was overtaken a couple of times, also by my own mistakes. I wasn't able to steer into the corner the way I wanted, and it really frustrated me. I had to make up for it on the exits, and also there I lost time because I was just making a lot of mistakes. Eventually, in the last 2 laps, I made the same mistake twice. The first time running wide into turn 6, having to give back a position, and I wanted to overtake him back. Made up the time again, closed the gap, and in the last lap I did exactly the same. I wasn't able to go into the corner again, and I once again had to lose time to not make a shortcut out of my expedition outside of the track. The last half of the final lap I wasn't able to close the gap again, and I unfortunately crossed the line in P5, something that I'm really not happy with. A lot of things during the race frustrated me, and I made a big decision to turn it around completely for the second race. I changed my setup once again, but now going back to the setup that I had months before, back in May. I did my PR with that setup back then, also with a stock engine, but now I can't seem to get past my previous PR. So we made that change to the setup, and my feeling and my confidence was back to normal again. I wanted to get a clean slate, go into the second race without any opinions about the first race.
Can you hear me now?
This time I was able to get a decent start. Not a good one, but at least I wasn't losing places already. I think I lost one place, but then in going into the first turn, I also caught one back. My first lap in the second race was a lot more aggressive than in the previous race, but the race was nowhere finished yet. There were still 10 laps to go, and I had to still get around a few riders where I felt like I had a faster pace. Unfortunately, I was not able to find a good place to overtake them that soon. I was kind of stuck behind them for some time. Eventually, when I did overtake them, immediately I was able to ride faster lap times, and in the last few laps I was able to kind of somewhat catch the three guys in front of me. However, I wasn't able to set up an overtake going into a corner or going out of a corner. So I crossed the line in P4. I moved up one place compared to the previous race. My feeling on the bike still wasn't really good. It was a little better, and I was able to turn that into a faster pace during the second race. But obviously there's still a lot of work to do, and it's becoming harder and harder to improve at this stage of the season. There's still 4 weeks left until the next round. I'm going to use the 4 weeks to get back in shape, prepare myself for the next round, and make an adequate plan as to what things I'm going to try next round to hopefully be able to go on the track with a better feeling than this time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 en even een testje. Of je bent al aan het filmen? Oh, nee, ik word zo afgeleid.